So 2.1 is what we're starting this week, up to next week. That's when the quiz is when we finish all of 2.1. So the enduring understandings for this section in particular, it says the way variables and operators are sequenced and combined in an expression determines the computed result. So order matters. When I see that, order matters, top down, left to right. And then the last thing it says, programmers incorporate iteration and selection. Selection is when the computer is making a decision. It's selecting something. If this is true, then it's going to do this, else do this. Okay. Iteration is repeating. So when someone says, I want to reiterate something, that means they want to repeat something in a way. Just think iterate, repeat. Reiterate doesn't really make much sense. I guess you're repeating something you did before. I don't know. But you can just say I iterated because you're repeating again. It doesn't matter. Into code as a way of providing instructions for a computer to process each of the many possible input values. Again, that's kind of what I said before. Your calculator does this when it calculates anything that you put in there. It's literally just guessing and checking until it finds something that works. Okay. Here is a breakdown of the entire thing. You should have already done 2.1.1 and 2.1.2. If not, you should be able to finish it today because today's stuff doesn't take very long. But Boolean expressions, if statements, control flow, and then what we're going over today is the if else. And eventually we're doing else ifs, and then a bunch of other stuff that's not as important, but unfortunately I have to teach it. And then we're eventually going to compare objects. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. So Boolean expressions, evaluate Boolean expressions that use relational operators in program code. Relational operators are things like this right here with the double equal sign or the exclamation point equal sign. This means, is it equal? Question mark, true or false? Is it equal? Is it not equal? So don't treat it like it's setting it equal to it. Treat it like it's a question. Okay, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Again, it's just asking a question. Is it less than? Is it greater than? Is it less than or equal to? It's not actually saying that it is. Okay, and I'm going to show you this by using some example code. So let me load up BlueJ here. Since we are in a new unit, I would start a new project. So you have all your unit 1 somewhere, and then you can have your unit 2 somewhere else. Although we might need that turtle code, but it doesn't matter. I can't remember if we need the turtle code in unit 2. All right, unit 2. And close that. Okay. So let's just make code warm up 2.1.1. Come on. All right, I would pay attention if 2.1.1 was a little much for you because I'm basically going to do a snapshot of what it's all going to look like. So code warm up 2.1.1. Public static void main string. All right, so let's say we have int a is equal to 2, it doesn't really matter. Int b is equal to 3. I can print out is a equal to b. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is just write in a Boolean expression. So it's going to be is a equal to b. Okay, that's essentially, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. That's essentially what this is doing right here. Okay, let me, so you can actually see the code here. All right, we're going to run this, and since they're not equal, it should output false. Okay, and you can see right there it's equal to false. Okay. But if I did something like double C is equal to 3.0, what is this going to output? Anybody? No, if I say is B equal to C, sorry. Is B equal to C? Oh, you already knew what I was going to say. I love it.
False.
Okay, is it false?
I think so. I don't think this is the type conversion.
It is true.
Oh, true.
Yeah. It's okay. You couldn't have possibly known that. It is a different type, but so if I change this to like 3.1, then it outputs false as well. Now, just to kind of show you the difference here, I'm going to put an exclamation point here. So is a not equal to B. Okay, you can see A is not equal to B. That is true. Okay. You can also write stuff like with Boolean types, where you can just say true. Oops, that's embarrassing. Let's do D here. Is true. And you could say E is false. All right, so you can do system.out.println is B equal to E. Okay, and then it says false. Okay, let's see here. Wait. Does anybody remember something like this clears the, or is it force zeros? I don't remember. Is that one? Okay, never mind. Sorry. Just checking. All right. Let's see. What else can I do here? Let's do strings. Okay, so we did primitives. Let's do string. Let's just say string S is equal to hello. String T is equal to hi. Embarrassing. That's extra embarrassing right there. All right, I'm gonna copy this. What is this gonna output? Does anybody want to chime in with a guess? Is it though? Now, believe it or not, Java can actually understand that hello means the same thing as hi in the human language, and this would output true. Kidding. If you fell for that, you were really gullible. It would be false there, okay? But what happens if I do this? Now they're both hello. What is this going to output as? False? True? It would be true. Okay. And that's kind of the way that Java is programmed. But what if I did this? This is going to be this is me trying to trick you now.
Ooh, I think I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, you are.
So what's going to happen here? If you know what I'm doing, I'm not done yet. Anybody know? It's okay if you don't, because this is just a knowledge thing. It's not a, whether you can actually.
Error.
It'll say false.
I got someone that says error. I got someone that says false.
Because in order for that to be true, doesn't that have to be the exact same instance of the object? You'd have to use dot equals to compare them.
Yeah. Right. And that kind of goes along with what we're saying before. I'm actually going to print off object A and print object B as well. Okay. When you do this, the object, it basically points to wherever it is in memory. So it's setting if the memory is equal to itself, and it's not, as you're going to see. Right here, it's false. And you can see where it's located in memory is what this nonsense is right here. And you can see they're not the same. But check this out. If I did something like this, okay, now I said object B is actually equal to what object A is in that same memory allocation. I believe this will be a true. Yeah. And you can see that it's got the same spot. I think that's called a pointer. I think it's not covered in this class, so I don't think you need to know it. Does anybody know anything about pointers? Last time I looked at pointers I was a freshman in college, so it was a while ago. It's not important. But anyway, that's the equal sign, not equal sign. I can change this up here, where if it's like, is X less than 2? Is A less than B, I should say, is less than. not saying A is less than, it's asking the question, true or false, A is less than B. Is it less than B true? Okay. That is super important to understand. It's not actually like in math where it says like X is less than 2. That means X is less than 2. This is asking a question. Is it? Is it less than it? I don't know. That's basically just a brief intro of all this stuff. And I could have done more with it, but that's in the activity. I'm not going to try to beat a dead horse on that. All right. If statements. So represent branching and logical processes by using conditional statements. Conditional means if. Okay. You've probably heard, the condition. Well, actually, usually people say like unconditional love. Has anyone ever heard that saying? Which is complete garbage. Well, actually, it's not garbage, but like when people are always just like, I don't know, I told my wife, like, it was part of like my vows. I was like, I promise to never unconditionally love you. And everyone's like, that's so rude. You should always unconditionally love someone, but it should always be based on some if statement. You shouldn't just love someone for no reason. Like, unless they're maybe your kids, like that's biased, or like your mom or someone like that. Like, I'm going to like my son if he's like, even if he's like, a terror and he's annoying or anything like that. But like, if you're with someone and you just unconditionally love them, even if they treat you like garbage, like that's kind of weird. So anytime I see the word conditional, I always think like if statements. If this is true, then do this, else do something else. It's based on some other condition being true. And so I relate it to that unconditional thing where unconditional means no matter what the condition is, I'm still going to do whatever it is. Okay. We don't want that. We want computers to actually make a logical decision, and you can use conditional statements to do that. Essential knowledge right here, it says conditional statements interrupt the sequential execution of statements. So it's almost like hitting a fork in the road. It's going one way or the other. It says like there, it affects the flow of control by executing different statements based on the value of the Boolean expressions. I'm going to show you an example of that right now. Let's go back to this. I'm going to duplicate this so I don't have to redo all of it. Open this up. Okay. I don't want any of this. So we're going to do if true. I almost did a colon because of Python. Python does conditionals amazingly because Python does everything amazingly. All right. All right. So I'm going to say inside the if statement. Okay. So I run this. You should be able to run through and says, if true, well, it is true, so it's definitely going to do it. And then it outputs it here. So it's inside the if statement. Okay, I shouldn't have gotten rid of all that stuff. Hold on. Here's the screen. Okay, now if I change this to false, you'll notice nothing prints out to the screen. Okay? Because it didn't actually execute that. I'm going to have another thing right here outside the if statement. Just so you can actually see that nothing ran with that. Okay, outside of it. Okay. Now if I do like 1 is equal to 1, that is definitely true. So this will run. So inside the if statement, outside the if statement. Okay. You could also do this with single line as well. If you do this, I highly advise not doing this. But if you do it where, I think I did this right. Yep. It's only going to run this first thing here. Okay. So I'll just say is 1 equal to 2. And you'll notice that it did not actually do this if here. Even if I put it right next to it, like right here, it's still only going to do the 1 line after it. Okay, so it's like a shortcut. I like doing curly braces because very rarely are you just going to have one thing like that. But if you do have an if statement, you could just put it technically on 1 line like that, how I did. Let's see here. What else did I want to go over? Else's. You can have an else directly after the if. That also uses curly braces. You can also do the single line with the else as well if you really wanted. I highly advise not doing that, but maybe it's on a test. So understand that if there are no curly braces there, the if statement is just going to do whatever's after it. Same with the else. Say inside the else statement. And it's either going to do this or this. you've probably all had parents that go, you better clean your room or else. It's like, or else what? That's an incomplete conditional statement. You have to answer it, or else what? So in this case, inside the if statement or inside the else statement, it's not going to do both. Okay, inside the else statement. But if I change this to like a 2, run that inside the if statement. Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of what's going on with that. Yeah, here's the single if statements of what I was talking about before. If you notice, there's no curly braces on this first one. This one has curly braces, so you can have a block if statement, so you can have a bunch of stuff. Okay, I already introed what the if else statement is for two-way selection. This else would be tied to this if up here. So it's like, if do this statement, else do another statement. That's essentially all it's about. There's nothing really else to explain about if else.